Hello guys, welcome back to my podcast. This is Deep Talk Podcast. If you're new here, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and drop your comment down below on your thoughts concerning the video. And also on this channel, we would like to share stories of people who are going through depression or who have overcome depression. And if it is something you would like to share with the world, you can send your stories to deeptalkpodcast@gmail.com. That's deeptalkpodcastng@gmail.com, and your stories will be featured on the channel. And as a quick disclaimer, this is not a help channel, this is not a self-help channel. I'm not a medical professional, I'm not trained. I'm just sharing my thoughts from the perspective of someone who has gone through this. And I hope probably through this I can give someone a voice to probably share their story or to discover they are not alone in whatever they are going through. So remember to like, share, subscribe, and drop your comments below, and let's get started. So today I want to look at a topic called Where There is Pain. Where there is pain. This is as a result of situations that we've seen around us. When people talk about pain, they only look at the negative parts. We focus on negative parts of pain, how bad it makes us feel. And even when we see the positive part, we look at the positive side from a perspective of the negative side. So it's more like someone say, I came out stronger of this pain. But when you say I came out stronger, people that are listening to that, they are not looking at it as something that is good. They look at it from a perspective of more like we are glad you survived, but not like there is something valuable to be learned from what you've gone through, except if they are going to go through that. So the only time people see something valuable from pain is if you are sharing with someone who is going through that particular situation at the moment. That's when they see it as valuable. But I believe that there are positive aspects to pain that people tend to overlook. So that's why we're looking at this topic today, where there is pain. And I've discovered in my life, in situations where there have been pain, when I've gone through situations and experiences that were not nice and were not situations that I wished to be in, I've discovered a few things have been very common, and one of it is growth. That's growth. And a lot of people look at it and say, how will you grow through pain? But even when you look at it, you know that through pain there's growth. You go from a place where you get affected by everything around you. When situations go wrong, it seems like it hits you hard, and you come to a point where you tend to manage things better. It's more like you've gone from being a baby to like a young child. So there's growth in the sense that you get matured, you know how to handle situations. It brings this level of growth, this level of maturity to how you approach situations. And when you look at it, it can be applied to every aspect of your life, because pain is something that a lot of people try to avoid. But when you can learn growth and maturity from a perspective of pain, it gives you this edge and this leverage over other situations in your life, where if something wants to go a way that you didn't plan or in a way that you don't want it to go, instead of you freaking out or instead of you becoming instead of you getting rattled by that situation, you discover that there's this calm and you approach it from a perspective of maturity and logic, which is one thing that I think it's a benefit of people who have mastered the art of growing through pain. Another thing is patience. And patience in this aspect, you see a lot of people who have gone through pain, they've mastered patience, in which when situations around you tend to push and portray themselves or come before you, and you don't have anything to counter those situations, you don't know how to stop them, you don't know how to overcome them, you discover that if you will get to a point where you develop patience for it, you just wait it out. It's like, okay, I'm going through this, I don't know how to get out, I don't know what I can do to make myself feel better, but I know one thing: if I wait long enough, it's going to end. If I wait long enough, I might figure out a way to navigate and go through the situation. And that patience on its own, it's a good virtue that can be implemented also in your daily life. You discover there's a lot of patience in you, even for situations where normally people will expect people to be very impatient. An example is myself. I've discovered that I have this patience that sometimes might look like it's coming from a place, or it might look like I don't speak up for myself, but most times is that I'm just patient. I'm not in a hurry, and I'm not offended by anything. More like I don't let situations rattle me or shake me off my balance. I just stand and look. An example of that is, for example, if I'm to get something, say in a mall, or I'm standing on a queue and someone cuts in line. 3-4 people can cut in line in front of me, and I'm just watching them. And someone look at it, why are you just calm with this? You're not upset. It just feels normal to me. I'm not rattled by that situation. That situation is not taking me out of my frame. Not because I'm a very calm person. I'm not a very calm person. I used to have severe anger issues, and it used to be very hard to manage. But I've discovered that through consistent pain, I've been able to learn patience, whereby I can stand there and 3, 4, 5, even up to 10 people cut in front of me. And as long as I don't have anywhere I'm rushing to, I'll just remain there till it's my turn. And sometimes people will be wondering, why have you been here and you're still here, and you can't argue or fight or shake or just do something to make everyone notice that this is supposed to be your turn. But it's something that, as a result of the experiences I've had, I've been able to learn patience. And even when it seems like I'm right and everyone is wrong, knowing that situation at that point will take me out of my frame, will take me out of my peace, will take me out of my calm, I've learned patience to a point where I will just remain there, and eventually I'll be answered, eventually I'll be attended to, and everything will go the way it's supposed to be. Now, if you look at it on the contrary, if I was to probably pick a fight with someone or shout or argue, even if it doesn't turn into a fight or a brawl, that action at that moment, I won't feel good about myself when I leave that place. I'm someone who overthink about everything, every situation around me. I tend to think about it over and over and over again. I replay situations in my head every day, which is why I try to be very careful about how I react and the things I do, because before I go to bed every night, which is always very late, I tend to think about everything I've done throughout the day, how I reacted to situations that I could have handled better, and things like that. So this patience have gotten me to a point where I can live my life with minimal to little regret on a daily basis. And that is something that is very important, because around I think about 6-7 years ago, I encountered a situation that made me make a resolution that I'm never going to regret any action I take ever in my life again. And that is not coming from a place of I'm going to live my life recklessly and not care about what everybody thinks, but actually it's from a place of I think my actions through. So before I engage in any action, I think of the worst outcome and the best outcome. So the question I ask myself is, this is the best outcome. If this is the outcome from this action I'm about to take, can I deal with it? Okay, yes, I can. Then I look at the worst outcome. If this is the outcome from this, can I deal with it? Yes, alright. If that's this case, I can deal with both actions, then I go through it. It means regardless of what happened, because I can deal with both the worst and the best outcome, I don't regret that action. Even when it turns out worse, I know that yes, I walked into this myself, and I knew the dangers before I walked into it, and I knew I could withstand it. That was why I went into it. So I don't regret that action. But when I look at that situation and I think, what is the worst case scenario, and I think about it, and if this comes out to be the result, can I deal with this? And the answer is no. I tend not to do that. And that came from a place of patience also, because sometimes situations come to you on the go where you don't have time to really analyze what you want to do. But what I do is, because of this patience, I've been able to master a level of calm where just looking at that situation, I can just think of wrong ways, which is sometimes it's easier to look at the wrong ways that a situation can turn out to, especially when you're trying to avoid regrets. it doesn't have to be the worst case scenario, but as long as there's a result or there's an outcome of that situation that is something I'm going to regret, it's something that makes me tend to withdraw from such situations. So that patience have been able to make me develop this ability to judge situations and to judge my actions before going into them, to reduce the risk of regrets. And had I known, if I eventually go through those actions, and I've discovered since I implemented that, it's been very easy for me to hold myself accountable. So if something goes wrong and I want to start regretting my action, I just remember, no, you did this to yourself. This is something you chose to do. There is no pity party here. You're not going to regret anything. Deal with the pain, deal with the result, deal with the shame, whatever it is, deal with it, because you put yourself in this situation. So that has made me very, very important choices and very, very important routes when I approach situations and when I tend to interact with people on a daily basis. Another thing that I say is a benefit of pain is appreciation. Now, this is very tricky because it can begin to sound like the normal talk you hear from people that say, just be grateful you are alive, or be grateful you have this, be grateful you have that. It might want to sound like that, but that is not actually the point here. It's more of, I begin to appreciate the little things that I don't have actually. So it's not like I'm very happy and I'm very bubbly all the time, but there are some times where the pain comes severely compared to other days. So it's like I'm in pain today, I'm in pain tomorrow, but the pain today is lesser than the pain of tomorrow or the pain of yesterday. So I appreciate the pain of today in retrospect to the pain of yesterday. I don't know if that's the right word. Yeah, I think it is, but in case I'm wrong, you can correct me in the comment section. But I appreciate the pain of today in respect to the pain of yesterday, or just something like that. So it's more like you look at life not from perspective of, okay, I'm appreciative of this because it could have been worse or it could have been better, but you're looking at it like, okay, I was in pain yesterday and I'm in pain today, but I'm not in as much pain as I was yesterday. So there's this appreciation. So it's an appreciation of lesser pain, which can look like appreciation of it could have been worse, but now it's looking at it from a perspective of, yes, it's still pain. Because mostly the reason why people don't like that it could have been worse statement is because it makes you look like you whine about everything. Like when someone tells you, if you don't have this, someone have it worse than you, or it could have been worse than this, it makes what that person go through, it makes it look like it is not worth it, or it makes it look like the person is just whining about something that is not really necessary. But when you look at it from the perspective of, I was in more pain yesterday than today, you appreciate it, because now you are comparing your day yesterday to your day today. Not you are comparing your life to somebody who you don't know his own story, you don't know his background, you don't know how he grew up or something like that. So it creates this attitude of appreciation, where on days where you feel slightly better than other days, you tend to do things that will make you happier, or tend to do things that will be in your favor. So something like, on a day where you feel less pain than other days, you might just do something for yourself. Probably go for a stroll if you don't go for strolls much, or just do something little, probably buy something for yourself, or just something that you can just look at and say, okay, I did this for myself on this day that I felt less pain, and it can add to some of the positive memories you have. Because one thing about some people who go through pain is it's very hard for you to pinpoint positive memories when you are in that state of mind. You try to look for positive memories, because as much as it looks like you don't want help, or you don't want someone telling you it could have been worse or it could have been better, something like that, as much as you don't want that, also at the same time you yourself know that what you're doing is not actually the right way to think. So naturally, on your own, if people are not there, you try to look for that positive aspect, something positive to be appreciative of. We do that unconditionally, and I say that because I know I do that. I don't like people giving me help. Don't give me solutions. Don't tell me it could have been worse or it could have been better. Don't tell me any of those. But when I'm alone and I'm in that state of mind, I try to look for some positive also out of that situation, so it doesn't look like I'm just focusing on the negative aspect of everything. So that's something that I noticed that also comes with a level of pain, when you begin to appreciate those little things that you would have overlooked on a normal day. Because a person who was in pain yesterday and a person who is in pain today, if you don't look at it from that perspective, you can look at it like, yes, I was in pain yesterday and I'm in pain today. And you say, since it's pain yesterday and pain today, there's nothing to be appreciative of. But when you look at it from the perspective of the pain yesterday was worse than the pain of today, and you are being appreciative of just that little change, you feel slightly better about yourself, and you have the strength also to keep going and to keep enduring the pain, or to keep dealing with the pain however you deal with it. Also, another thing that comes with pain also is connection. That's connection to the people around you, connection to how people around you feel. And this also is something that comes most frequently from pain. And I'm talking of connection, the aspect of when you have gone through pain or you are going through pain and people around you talk, or someone is trying to share something with you, you tend to understand better, not because you actually know what that person is going through, because unless you are feeling exactly what that person is feeling, you don't know what that person is going through. But you know that this situation that this person is sharing with me is painful for this person. I don't know what it feels like, but I know what pain feels like. So that understanding of what pain feels like help you create a better connection with that person, where you might not understand what that person is going through, but the way you understand the expression of the person and the words they are saying, the person will feel that you genuinely do care about what they are saying and you genuinely understand what they are saying, even though you've never experienced it. So pain has a way of teaching connection and teaching understanding other people's emotions. So that's another aspect of pain that people tend to overlook. When they are going through pain, they only think of myself, but they don't realize that actually you've learned something that can be of benefit to the people around you, which can also help alleviate your own pain at a point. By alleviating your own pain, that might sound absurd to some people, but I've discovered it helps in my own situation, where on situations when I'm going through severe pain, I'm going through pains from situations and I don't like the situations around me, one way I've discovered it's easy for me to deal with it is by actually causing comfort for another person. So one way I deal with pains when they get almost unbearable for me, it's by doing something nice for someone, by just listening to someone, or by trying to help someone get better. And one of the easiest way I've done that, I think I've been able to do that, is by helping someone that was in either similar pain or in another form of pain get out of that pain. Like I said, I've been in this state of mind for a very long time, over 15 years now, and honestly I don't even seek for help anymore. I'm not searching for help. Even when people want to help me or something, I'll tell you, no, I don't need help, I'm fine. I actually like this state of mind. And when I say I like this state of mind, people think something is wrong with me, but it's actually from a place of it's familiar, and I've been able to develop a sense of fulfillment and happiness from helping people get better. So it's like I'm used to this way of life, and I've found peace and I've found calm and rest and purpose in helping people get better, helping people change from this way of life if it's something they want, because it's going to be very voluntary. I don't make people do things because they don't want to, and because I feel like everyone should be happy. No, I don't do that. But if you want to change, yes, I help people. I talk to people close to me, and when I talk to them and they get better, when I look at them, there's this sense of satisfaction I feel. So that came from a place of pain. Now, if I'd only thought about myself, when I see options and opportunity for help, I will get those opportunities for help. And the thing is, once you get out of a state of mind, just like you would have noticed we are humans. You begin to discover that with time, you begin to forget what it actually feels like to be in that state of mind. You begin to forget what it actually feels like to be in that position, which is why you see people who have gone through situations sometimes and you expect them to be sympathetic towards specific people going through that same situations, but it looks like they are the worst. They seem not to understand what that person is going through because they've left that state of mind and now they've forgotten what it feels like. And the reason why they forgot it is because it is not a nice way to live your life. It was not a happy period for them. It was not a period that they wish to experience again. Now, when you get better and you see something better and you see the world in a better light, it becomes very hard for you to want to relate to that situation that you see as a dark moment in your life, because you look at it and you think, why would I want to associate with something like this? And because you don't want to associate with something like that, you begin to forget what it feels like and you begin to lose sympathy for people who are going through that same situation, because it's not like you lose sympathy for them, but you actually detest that situation. So when you see people going through that situation, you begin to add that hatred you have for that situation to those people, which is why it seems when you see those people, they seem to have no form of sympathy at all for people who are going through the same situation that they've gone through. It's not because they are wicked or it's not because they are heartless, but it's because they actually hate that situation. But the hate they have for that situation, they are attaching it to the person who is going through that situation. So it is hard for them to differentiate between the person and the situation. So pain on its own makes you learn the balance. So as long as there is pain consistently, or you learn to live with the pain and deal and understand the pain, even though you have a better life, but you still accept the pain. Once you get to that point, you'll be able to connect with people better, and that also leads to my next point. You'll be able to sympathize with people better. Now, sympathy also is another aspect that comes with pain. Now, I'll not be explaining this for long because it's almost similar to what I just said in the previous point. You have sympathy for people because you understand what they are really going through. You understand what that is not the action they are going through, but you understand the pain that they are going through. You understand that pain is not nice. You understand that pain is something that once you are going through it, the only thing you're thinking about is how to get out of that situation. And the only thing you're thinking about is, how can I get better? How can this get better? So when you've gone through that situation, when you see people struggling to get out of that situation, you understand that quite alright, because you understand the struggle of trying to get out of situations. Another point with this sympathy, I will explain this better probably in the episode I'll be posting on Wednesday. It's also in the aspect of, this is actually linking to religion and religious people. I'll talk a little on it, but in the episode of Wednesday we'll talk fully on it, or probably the episode of next week Monday, one of the two. I'm going to talk about that. And it's a state where people who have never gone through situations, especially people who have religious mindsets and they've seen things from the perspective of religion, when they see people struggling with situations that according to their religion, all you just have to do is take a few steps and everything will be fine, and just believe that everything will be fine and everything will be fine. When they want to approach that situation, they approach it with that mindset of, all you just have to do is this, all you have to do is that, all you have to do is this. And the person going through that situation is not being helped at that point, because one, the person is feeling bad about the situation that they are in. They don't like that situation to begin with. Now, making that situation look lighter than it is, and making light of that situation makes that person feel like maybe they are overreacting about something that they shouldn't overreact about. But in actual sense, it's right for them to overreact about it because it's exactly how they feel. But because someone has a different perspective on how things should be and don't understand what pain really is, they don't understand, and they tend to have less sympathy to people who are going through something like that. An example is when you see someone battling with an addiction, probably alcohol or maybe pornography or drugs or something like that. A person who has a different mindset in the aspect of they didn't have the opportunity to first of all, indulge in those vices so they couldn't form an addiction to those vices, and they begin to give advice, or they're trying to tell you about what you should do about that, you discover that it will be very hard for you to take advice from those people, because their advice will not make sense to you, because they don't really understand what you're feeling. It's like telling someone who has been drinking for years that all you just have to do is don't buy the drink and don't buy the drug, or don't don't go on the pornographic website, or don't do something. But that person is saying that because it makes sense to him. That's how he has been able, or it makes sense to her. That's how they've been able to live to that point and not do that, because they never indulge in those. But when you see someone that has gone through that struggle, the person will not go through that way of thought, or that line of thought. The person will actually tell you something along the line of, take it a day at a time. If you drink 10 bottles in a day before, try taking 9.5, or try taking 9, and with time begin to cut it down. Now that person is approaching from a place of understanding, so that person appears more sympathetic than the person who is approaching it from a perspective of they've never experienced it before. So pain actually also creates sympathy for people going through situations or pain around you. So that's just some of my thoughts for today. I really appreciate you for sitting and listening. It really means a lot to me. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and also if you like to share your stories, you can send your stories to deeptalkpodcastng@gmail.com. It's also going to be linked in the description below. So if you would like to share your story with the world, you can send your stories in, and like I said, your stories is going to be anonymous. You can change your names in the story so people don't know who you are. And once again, I appreciate you listening to me rant about random thoughts and random things, and I hope to see you in the next episode. See you on Wednesday. Goodbye.